Welcome to Your Bookkeeping Matters. I'm Lisa Turner, bringing you short and snackable weekly episodes on bookkeeping and business matters in an easy to understand way so you can be in control and confident that you know your bookkeeping matters. Let's dive into this week's episode. Hello friends, and thanks for popping me in your ears today for a super fun and popular topic I get loads of questions on: cash flow. Another bookkeeping and finance matter you absolutely need to know all the things about when running your own business. I've touched on many times throughout Your Bookkeeping Matters on things impacting your cash flow and how to track the flow in and out of your accounts. But today's focus is your cash flow, the reason you're not growing. You could be doing all the bookkeeping things and financy things the right way, but if you're not managing the actual flow of cash in and out of your accounts in a way to support your goals, well, it could be the missing piece of the puzzle for so many businesses. With all the economic impacts over the last few years and 2023 looking to be a tight one again for many business owners, let's have a chat about some of the things you can look at and do to get the growth you're looking for on track in case cash flow is exactly the reason you're not growing. Let me expand a little on what cash flow is. For you, it might be obvious, but for others, it's one of those money words you can't quite put your finger on exactly what it refers to. Well, it is quite literal in the sense of it's a real movement of your money from one place to another, your cash flowing in and out of your business. So, money spent on bills, wages, stock, rent, buying equipment, paying directors and shareholders. Absolutely any time at all that money goes out somewhere is cash flowing out. And then the flip side, money flowing back in from interest earned, commissions, sales of your products and services, you get the drift. Cash flow is an essential part of business growth, and without it, well, you could be stuck right where you are. To add a little further to the cash flow terminology, positive cash flow means more money coming in than going out. And negative cash flow, of course, is more going out than coming in. Ideally, you always want positive cash flow. Still, sometimes strategically, you have negative cash flow because you've decided to buy more stock than normal, or purchase equipment, or invest heavily in training, whatever the reason might be. And then sometimes not by choice. You have, for example, less sales than you planned or hoped for and end up with negative cash flow. Now, that being strategic or planning is pretty much what we're going to chat about today. Because if you're not doing this planning and you're splashing the cash because it's in the bank without knowing should your cash be flowing somewhere else, you can't strategically plan for growth. You also need to have really great processes in place to protect and keep your cash flowing both in and out. And guess what? Even if you do everything the right way, managing your business, pricing, business processes, those kind of things, if your cash is tied up in the wrong places, it could still be stunting the growth of your business. Now you know what cash flow is. Why on earth would I say something crazy like cash flow could be the reason you're not growing? If the cash is flowing, wouldn't it also make sense to say business is flowing? Well, not entirely, and certainly not in most instances. Your cash flows in and out in a few different categories, and depending how well you manage them, if that helps your growth, or if it keeps you at a status quo, or it sends your business backwards. Now, there are three main drivers or categories of cash flow. One being the operational cash flow, and that comes from your income and expenses tied to or coming from your normal daily sales and expenses. Income from your normal products or services you sell, and all your normal expenses like the cost of goods, the rent, stationery, insurances, wages. The second driver or category is financing. So if you were to take out a loan from somewhere, your bank or shareholders, which is yourself or directors and the like, so if you took a loan from one of those, and then the loan money you receive coming in from the bank from those, PayPal, Shopify, whoever, and then the money going back out to repay the loan. And lastly, the third category, investments. Money or cash flow going out for purchasing assets like new equipment, property, and so much more. Investments is a huge topic. And also money possibly comes in from these investments, depending on your business and other setups. Generally, most of your cash flow is going to be from that first type, operations in a business. And if your business is not growing, you might find that cash flow could be the reason. Without getting into more geek speak or finance jargon, if you have inadequate working capital, this means you don't have enough money or cash flow available to look after your daily business needs. You can't do any business, and then that means you can't generate any sales and grow. So you need to make sure you have adequate working capital. You need to make sure you can cover your business needs. So as your money comes in, you need to keep on top of how much money you owe to suppliers and pay your bills on time so that they don't pile up and you wind up spending more than you can repay. If you've got employees, make sure you pay them as a top priority. If you don't pay your employees and their taxes and super, aside from the legal obligations and penalties here, you'll also wind up with no employees staying with you, helping you keep the business going and growing. So you need that adequate working capital or adequate cash flow to keep the business going on a daily basis. Now you need to look after your money and always tell it where to go instead of wondering where it went. If you find this one tricky to help you keep your working capital in the right way, a good way to manage this is to have a separate savings account to pop funds aside for your upcoming expenses and payroll, and to also help you save for taxes and super. Then you're not spending money that you shouldn't be, which keeps the cash flowing to the right places at the right times. Also, I find it helpful when I reframe how you look at or think about taxes and super to being someone else's money. And it is. You're simply the middle person holding the funds temporarily. This helps a lot of business owners be more aware of not spending all the money in the bank and being really responsible when it comes to saving for their obligations. Because if you find yourself on that hamster wheel, always scrambling to find money to pay your daily expenses and wages and the normal operating things, you won't be able to save or put money towards other things or opportunities for you to really invest in your business growth. Put on that extra employee, buy that extra stock, buy that new piece of equipment to help you generate more income. So you need to look after your working capital, have adequate cash flow to keep the business running normally. Now, when I mentioned you have to have great processes in place when it comes to money, I wasn't only referring to spending and saving. It's super important when it comes to your customers. If you don't have tight payment options and terms in place, and you're always getting paid late by your customers, this stops or slows your cash flow coming in, and you can't spend the money or put it where you need to because you don't have it yet. So you can't keep your business going and growing. if you, for any reason, don't get paid up front for whatever you sell or the services you provide, and you offer any form of payment terms, this is totally okay so long as it's crystal clear in your T's and C's or your client agreement what payment is due and when. And it is then really important you get comfortable making sure they pay on time and you follow up really fast when they don't. Have a follow-up plan in place and stick to it. Always keep the cash flowing in so you can keep it flowing out to other businesses so you can all keep going and growing. Another way to keep on top of this one is to offer more than one way for your customers to pay you and make it easy. The easier it is to pay you, the quicker you'll get paid. I'm honestly surprised at the number of invoices that I receive and I see my clients receive that don't offer a way to pay online quickly, like credit card or PayPal. If I have to go and log into my online banking and copy paste all the EFT details, or if I have to go and find my physical credit card and key in the number, chances are I'll do it later, but then I never do. Or I find someone else who offers PayPal so I can do it much quicker and easier. It sounds lazy, but it's honest and it's true, and I know I'm not alone here. So make it easy for the cash to come in quickly. Something I see happening quite often in small businesses is excessive spending. And by that, I mean just spending too much money for loads of reasons. You might have cash in the bank, so you think it's available for spending. Go back to my first point. Do you have taxes you need to be saving for? Do you have upcoming expenses you don't have the bill for yet? Money in the bank doesn't always mean it's for spending. This can be really dangerous, making decisions based on your bank balance. You wind up spending more than you should and end up with higher expenses and no cash to pay your other bills. So look after that cash flow. Now, if you have money in the bank, you've checked if it's actually available cash, available for you to spend, be sensible about spending it. If you're serious about growth, spend the money in a way you get your return on it. Will buying this help me reach my goals of XYZ? No? Then you have your answer. How else can you stop excessive spending? Make a budget and use that as your goalpost or to help you make spending decisions. If you've listened to my earlier episode, budgeting is not a dirty word, this episode helps explain budgets might not work for everyone, but as a business owner, you do need to plan and you can make your budget as simple or as complex as you like. Whatever works best for you and your business to help you get where you want to go, because budgeting and growth looks different for everyone. So you need to make a plan of what you want to do and how you're going to get there. Growth of your business, what this season of the podcast and this episode is all about, needs you to step up and do things differently and be proactive about your business and your money spending decisions. You can't have excessive spending and then wonder why your business isn't growing, because it is squarely on your shoulders as the keeper of the money and chief decision maker. Now, the last thing I want to touch on today, and this is for you if you're in e-commerce or retail, is slow-moving stock. I'm not going to pretend to be an inventory or e-commerce expert, but e-commerce accounting is my jam, so I work with a lot of businesses in this space. And unfortunately, stock is one of those things that you just can't predict. So you need an excellent understanding of stock and know your customers really well. Because if you order loads of a particular item and it doesn't end up selling, there's two big issues at play here. Number one, no cash coming in for those products. And number two, your cash that you spent is tied up in that stock until it's gone. Now, chances are you will have to discount the stock to move it, or even worse, write it off. # that's a write-off. Depending on the discount, you could end up selling the stock at break even or even a loss, meaning you've paid people to take the goods. So your cash flow is really badly impacted here, and you don't have any cash flow coming in for the growth of your business. You're going backwards, literally giving money and stock away. Now get really savvy with your stock here. Order fast movers, order things you know you'll sell. Do pre-orders where possible if that fits your business model. Poll your clients on what they like and what they'd like to see coming in. Like I said, know them really well and order what they want. It is a given though, in product-based businesses, you will end up with some dead or slow-moving stock. But be aware of it and know the opportunity cost when you're buying up stock. So cash flow isn't a fancy business term that you can shy away from and take the stance that I don't need to know what cash flow is because it's technical jargon and that's a bit fancy for me. I'm here running my small business and I don't need to know what that means. You do need to know what it is, and you need to know cash flow to keep your daily operations ticking along, to pay the bills, and to take advantage of the growth opportunities that come your way. And cash needs to flow both ways, in and out. This is just the way it is, and it's a great energetic exchange. The more it flows, the easier and the better it gets. Now you've listened to this short and snackable episode, you know exactly what cash flow is, the different types, and how even if the cash is flowing in and out, if it's the wrong type or the wrong amounts or the wrong speed or it's stuck tied up in something, it can absolutely be the reason that you're not growing. If you want a quick and easy way to work out how much profit you'll make if you do have to lower your prices to make sure you're not selling at a loss, I have a free pricing calculator you can grab in the resources section of my website, accountedforyou.com.au/pricing calc, which I'll link in the show notes. Cash flow can be a really complex and in-depth area of your business, and it's different for everyone. So, as always, this has been general advice only. Please make sure to reach out to your professional and they can go through what will work best for you and your financial circumstances. I hope you've taken loads away from this episode so you can make some changes in your processes, your business, and your cash flow to grow your business. And if this is now another numbers topic under your belt, made easy and less overwhelming, I would love it if you could leave a review so this show can reach and support more businesses. Thanks for tuning in. Looking forward to catching up with you again next week.